is Angelo, and I'm about to blow your mind. Feminism and a feminist perspective is not just for women, and it can be applied to anything. Now, what is feminism? I always thought it was this really strange thing that I didn't understand, and I only learned about it through the television, through the news and stuff like that. You think it's just bra burners, people protesting, topless. I was completely wrong, and I couldn't be more wrong. I was trapped inside of the ignorance box until I became a women's studies minor at Stony Brook, and that changed my life. So our society believes things without questioning them, and this is a huge issue for us. We take things for truth without really understanding what's going on. So where do you get your information from? Do you get it from the TV or the internet? It's easy to mix the facts with the fictions. And what gives something credit? What makes something valid? What makes something worth listening to, and what makes something true? Can popular opinion be greater than unknown facts? Who's teaching us about life after we grow up, after our parents aren't around? And are they successful in teaching us? Now, I want to tell you about this not-so-new field of study. It's called media psychology. It's about 30 years old, which could be kind of surprising because the media has been around for hundreds of years. I think that this is really important because the impact that technology has on us and the human experience is just far too great, and we don't understand it. We don't get it at all. So why is this important? Things are different. The game has changed. We have so much more technology, and it's even greater than it was in the past. We have 5 devices now in one device, and it's in our pockets 24/7. We're forming a deeper connection with our technology, and we have a cultural identity with it. It makes us different. So what if I told you that too much of a good thing could be a bad thing? What if I told you that we're addicted to our devices? We've been talking about this glass ceiling all day, right? So what if I told you that the glass ceiling was right here in our pockets, and we're putting it right in front of our faces? We're experiencing things through the third person, and something didn't really happen unless we post it online. So pretending that it doesn't exist doesn't make it go away. Denial never works. But what does work is history. We've learned that history always repeats itself. So I believe that this is like a generational problem. This isn't the first time that we've seen this. Same thing happened with rock and roll in the 50s. People thought it was going to kill us, all these drugs and everything. But our parents turned out okay, right? So if this bothers me, someone who was born in this generation, I'm a digital native, right? So basically that means that I grew up with all this technology. I was 2 years old, I could operate a VCR. I was 5 years old, I had a Game Boy. And I was 12 years old and I had a cell phone. So for me to think that this is crazy, definitely people in the future will think this is crazy as well. And this is why it needs to be studied. And especially for those who weren't born in our generation, do they understand it? Do our parents get it? So I wanted to quote a man named Springhall from 1998, and this still holds true. Whenever the introduction of a new mass medium is defined as a threat to the young, we can expect a campaign by adults to regulate, ban, censor, or fall by a lessening of interest until the appearance of a new medium reopens public debate. Each new panic develops as if it were the first time such issues had been debated in public, yet the debates are strikingly similar. So basically this means that we're going in a circle. Every time we have new technology, we have the same issue and the same problems that we're debating, but it always ends up being okay until something new happens and we just forget about it. We need to study it more. We need to treat it like we treat the issue of equality, and the issue of equality needs more attention as well. Everyone knows about the problem, but everyone's afraid to admit it, right? And even fewer have the courage to go out and support it, to be activists. So these are socially constructed problems, right? Therefore, I believe the only way to get past this is to socially destroy it. It all begins as kids. We're trying to fit in, we're trying to be like everybody else. We want to be accepted by everyone. So by becoming everyone, we'll be accepted, right? Not true. Perhaps we need technology. Maybe it'll help us. There is an app for everything, right? But what did we do before we had an app for everything? I'm not saying technology is a bad thing, right? But people did say the same thing about butter, right? Butter is such a great, tasty thing. It's going to make us healthy. They said this in the 1950s. But now we know that it causes obesity and other problems. So now that we're old enough to speak up, now that my generation is old enough to speak up, we need to have this issue heard. I fear that the role of parenting is disappearing, that we're being raised by technology and by our mobile mothers. Questions that we used to ask our parents, we're now asking Google. So what does this mean? Are the media raising us, or are we raising ourselves? And do we have a choice? In the 1950s, Betty Friedan talked about the problem that has no name. Expectations of women were kind of crazy, you know, just in the house all day, I'm cooking and cleaning, that couldn't be more wrong, right? So was this all, and is this it? I believe that the same issue is for technology. We believe that there isn't a problem, everyone's not talking about it, but we need to talk about it. We need to start this debate now. This is the new problem that has no name. We are being brainwashed. We are being brainwashed just like we were in the 1950s, and this isn't cool, okay? We are letting the media raise us and tell us who to be, how to live our lives, who to love, and who to hate. We're going with the flow, but we need to go against it. We trust strangers, right? We trust strangers that are on the internet, so when we ask advice online, we take that as valid, yet we won't ask someone on the street who, like, we have no idea who they are. What's the difference, right? We seem to be okay with all these effects, and we're okay with growing up with a digital binky, so what does this mean? I have the answer. I don't know. I don't know about this because there isn't enough research being done. Research is being done, but it's complicated, and the timing of it is terrible because by the time we figure things out, the technology is outdated and the medium is old, so it can't really help the people who need it most. Papers are complicated, wordy, and hard to understand, and they're usually limited to the academic community or community of researchers. They need to reach the everyday people. So basically, remember how I said that we get all of our information online? Well, we get the research information through third or fourth strings. Nobody reads the actual research paper in the real world, only at college, right? So all this is basically being manipulated, it's being processed, right? So we're not getting the full picture. Well, I'm here to tell you that we're done suffering silently and that we're done just sitting by and doing nothing. It's time to speak up. It's time to get up off the couch, and it's time to bring the world together. Researching this issue, issues of media psychology from all different fields, is going to help us figure this out. Multidisciplinary research is important because usually people who are researchers, they focus on their one issue, right? Whether it's biology or psychology or, I don't know, cooking, who knows? But we need to bring all these people together because the media issue is a multidisciplinary issue, like I said. There's different aspects. We need to know how it affects us in all these different ways. And so we need to bring together all these researchers, and especially those who don't get along. And we need to invest in higher education. There aren't a lot, I'm interested in media psychology, but there aren't a lot of grad programs available. So we need to step on it. We need to, make some programs. We need to invest in higher education, and we need to know more. But remember that this isn't just a US problem, but it's a global problem. So I don't know if you heard in the last year in China, they made texting lanes for people who are walking, for pedestrians, which is kind of crazy. So that the people texting will walk over here and the normal people walk over here. Like I said, normal. It's kind of crazy. So I wonder what's next for us. Are we going to end up like that? So the hot topic of last year was feminism, right? But I think it needs to get even hotter than that. So both feminism and media psychology need to build more momentum and they need to be heard. Basically, we need to cook up a storm. And I'm not the chef, but I want to give you guys the ingredients to be able to do so. In order for significant change to happen, the main ingredient is you. And together, I think that we can tackle this and raise awareness. Thank you.